Diablo is going to be our first entry into the RPG arena. It is going to be highly rendered, three-quarter perspective, dungeon crawl. I hate to use that term, but again, to paint a mental picture for you.
There's some things about Diablo that make it, I think, very different from a lot of role-playing games. One of the issues we looked at was replayability factor. In role-playing games, generally once you buy an RPG and you're done playing it, you're done playing it.
It's going to have a high replay value in that it's multiplayer. Dungeons are randomly generated, although they still have very strongly themed puzzles within them. We're building a huge number of puzzles, and they'll be randomly placed into randomly generated levels, so you'll be able to go back and play these games over and over and over.
When you go back into the level, within the game it's still the same. But if once I finish Diablo, if I want to go back through again, level 1 will be different from the last time I played level 1 from the other game. It'll be a multiplayer game as well, so multiple people will be able to go in and complete the quests. It's also not a typical fantasy setting. It's a very dark, gothic setting almost, with a lot dealing with the undead and demonic powers, a lot more than standard elves and dwarves and fairies and wood sprites. We kind of wanted to get away from that.
Of the 30 of us here, and 29 of us or so are in R&D, we're all fanatic game players, even our office manager, Christina. The reason we hired her, and she doesn't do any R&D, but the reason we hired her is because she owns her own Super Nintendo. Not her brother's, or her boyfriend's. It's hers, and she plays the games. We started doing conversions, so we did Amiga conversions of a lot of the Interplay products. We did some work for Micro League Sports. We did Macintosh versions and Amiga versions of some of their PC products.
It's a great way to train someone. You get to very easily, you learn a new platform, you learn how someone else approached particular problems. You get to see, without going through the long process yourself, you get to see what mistakes they made, things they did right, things they did wrong. It's a very easy way to get into the business.
Lost Vikings went on to become the puzzle game of the year, and it's kind of funny because when we started it, we had faith in our own abilities as designers and game players, but the concept from where we started to where it finished, 180 degrees, and that sort of defines to this date my design philosophy in games. We believe that good games, the best games, evolve as you design them, and you really have to set the team up to design by the seat of its pants.
We're all very dedicated game players, and we're very competitive, and we want to build games that we can play against each other.
It's taken the entire scientific community 100 years to come up with a good chess algorithm that's capable of competing against a decent human chess player. Chess is not real time. There's only 64 squares on the board, and there's only 6 different types of pieces.
No matter how good you make a computer AI, it'll still never equal a human AI, especially when games are concerned, because there's so many tricks and twists and outwardly stupid things that a person will do that I don't think that another human expects them to do, which usually results in winning, I've found.
The origins of the company are in a little DBA called Imagination Development Systems, which was me as a 15-year-old in high school. I started as a beta tester and an aspiring programmer right at the very beginning. I had one of the original Apple II Pluses, 48K, and if you had 64K, you had a souped-up system, that kind of stuff. So that was the beginnings, kind of the origins of what is now Blizzard Entertainment. Mike Morhaime, he's our vice president. Frank Pierce is one of our senior programmers, and Mike, Frank, and I, we were the founding members. So the three of us actually started the corporation Silicon and Synapse in 1991.
And I were taking a computer hardware design lab together, and we were working on these Unix systems. I didn't know Alan very well at this point, but Alan got up from his system, and on a Unix system you can lock it. You type lock, it prompts you for password. You type in your password, and then no one can use your system for 10 minutes, and then it times out. Well, Alan was gone for longer than 10 minutes, so I looked around. You know, he wasn't anywhere. I figured I'd play a practical joke on him. Walked over to his system, re-locked it with my own password, sat back down and just pretended, you know, that everything was, you know, fine. Alan walks back in, sits down at his terminal, and it unlocks. So I look over and my jaw just dropped. I couldn't figure out how he could possibly have done that. Turns out we use the same password.
We changed at the end of '93 from Silicon and Synapse to Chaos Studios. And the reason we did that was we were positioning ourselves to go affiliated, to set up an affiliated label, and decided after 3 years of spelling Silicon and Synapse over the phone, and people saying silicone and what, you know, and it was just, we needed a shorter, sweeter, sexier name for the company. What we decided was, after we were acquired by Davidson, again, one last time, sort of to define our new goal now as a publisher, as a brand label. Our new mission statement, you know, was sort of summarized in this new entity, Blizzard Entertainment.
Warcraft 2 is more encompassing. It's a bigger game. It includes land, sea, and air, which Warcraft 1 didn't. Warcraft 1 was just purely land-based. It just makes the world a bigger place to live in. I believe that Warcraft 2 is more of what we wanted Warcraft 1 to be originally. Like, it's a broader scope. It includes, you know, the land, sea, and the air, and a lot of the ideas really came from in here. But we do listen to people. We do listen to the public.
We got so many suggestions, so many emails to us about, this is great, let's see Warcraft 2 with this, and this. And that's going to, you know, segue right into the Warcraft 2 discussion, which to a large degree are suggestions that came from consumers. The single biggest thing that people wanted was, right now in Warcraft 1, if you move out, the darkness evaporates away. You take that unit back and you can still see where you've been. There's no line of sight.
Fog of War is just like, in the first Warcraft you could walk and explore an area, then come back. Now you can actually walk into an area and come back, and you'll still see where you've been, but you won't see what's actually going on there unless you have units there.
It completely changes the tactics of the games. You need scouts and pickets, and flanking maneuvers and ambushes become real, and you can't assume anything. An overwhelming force could be headed in one direction, get flanked, and you go cut the guy's economic backbone. You couldn't do things like that in Warcraft 1, or less could you do that if you explored the area around you. There were really no tactical surprises. That'll be totally different in Warcraft 2, and true military tactics will play a much larger role in Warcraft 2. There's twice as many units, twice as many buildings, twice as much magic. The maps are twice as wide and twice as tall, so 6 players in each game. More is what people asked for. Super VGA, you know, more colors, more graphics. We added everything that people asked for, with the one notable exception, the more races issue.
We're a lot more races this time around. Before, people were kind of crying out for more races. We're not really going to be able to do 4 races, but what we're going to do is we have the human allies and the orc allies. So the humans, as they go down their path, they sort of meet up with the elves, and they meet up with the dwarves, and they gain units from those guys. On the other side, the orcs meet up with trolls and ogres, and they gain units from that side. One of the examples is like elvish archers. In the first game you'd go footmen, then you just get archers. This time around you're going to have to actually play a scenario and help a little band of elvish archers out perhaps, and then they'll come to your aid. The elfish archers this time around, though, won't just like upgrade their arrow strength. They might have abilities like move through trees, or camouflage, or tracking, and stuff like that. None of that stuff's set in stone yet, but we're definitely going to give them extra abilities to do with their races. More people, it's going to be 8-player, multiplayer, up to 8-player, I think, between 6 and 8. Also, paramount to this game is there's more resources. There's now, because there's oceans, there's now oil. Oil is a major resource that you can build your ships with and various other units. And you have to actually build a shipyard, send a ship out there, ping for oil basically, like sort of cast a spell, shows you where the oil is, set down an oil platform, And then, almost like in the first game, you take the oil from the oil platform back to the oil refinery at the coastline and start a stream going there. Also on land, there's now rocks that you have to mine for ore. So now we have 4 resources: gold, lumber, ore, and oil. Storyline, it's a lot more grand this time. The scenario design is going to be very interactive. We want to try and make it so that it's not a linear scenario. We want to have it so that you definitely, when you pick your decisions, you're affecting your next upcoming game. So you choose to go help the elves out instead of the dwarfs this scenario. By the time you get to the next scenario, you won't have a blacksmith. You'll have elven archers instead. We have on each side, you could end up playing about 25 a side if you play the long way around. If you played the quick way, or if you took note of the hints and tried to play the best way you could, you'd probably play 16 a side if you played it perfect. The way we've designed it, if you choose to, there'll be certain objectives. Maybe taking a keep or something like that. You may decide that this time I'm just going to go straight for the keep. I'm going to attack it with all I've got right now. Or you could wait 2 more scenarios and try to gain support from, say, paladins, maybe gain another spell or 2 through another scenario, rally up the people around the area, and then go attack the keep. So then you end up playing, it takes longer to get there, but you'll have more stuff when you actually get there.
Shattered Nations is take Road Warrior's post-Holocaust, kind of low-technology world, and take Terminator 2's futuristic post-Holocaust science fiction world, combine those 2 together, and you have a good idea of what the world that Shattered Nations takes place in.
Shattered Nation, right, which is another strategy title that's going to be along a civilization-style model, but set in a post-apocalyptic setting after the fall of mankind. You have to, as the player, you're cast in the role of being the leader of a band of survivors that are now having to not only research yourself, but scavenge the remains of mankind's history to rebuild society. We're working through an advisor system right now, where as the game becomes more and more difficult, you're able to hand off the more difficult tasks to advisors. So the computer, again, using the computer to streamline a number crunch for you. All 3D rendered, and a lot of cutscenes, and also all the graphics are totally rendered, giving it definitely a graphic style, look, and feel that hasn't been done in a strategy title. And we're handling the combat element is actually one of the things we had to invest a couple of pretty knockdown, drag-out meetings into to make it work. So when the units meet, because it'll happen between turns, it's turn-based as opposed to real-time. We wanted to have more than just a units bump and the bigger unit wins, because we want to be able to stack units, and 5 smaller units should be able to destroy 1 larger unit. Definitely a very intense, what I tend to refer to as a bean counter game. With me being able to maintain control as the player over every aspect that we can possibly put in of running a galactic empire, from military to political to economic. Doing a lot graphically to enhance the program, as well as increasing all the different abilities that you'll be able to have, from choosing your race to defining what temperatures it has, that it can the characters can work well in, what atmosphere they breathe, what types of talents they have, whether the race is more psionically bent or technologically, or energy weapon-wise, or mechanically oriented, all the way up through ship design, through building your entire empire, setting up trade routes, political actions between you and other players. I think one of the biggest changes in it from PAX actually is that it's going to support on network 16 players, with any number of which can be the computer.